one day I had an experience at the university. There was a young girl that got up in my science class, and she basically said she doesn't believe what I'm saying, because I was talking about the evolution of the kidney. And she said, God created it. And that created such a furor in me, because how dare this young whippersnapper, first-year medical student attack this evolutionist who had been trained at university for years, sits with PhDs behind his names, and this one comes and says, this is all nonsense, God did it. So I lambasted the poor girl that she sat down in tears, and my conscience bothered me, not for what I had said, but for the way in which I had said it. And so my solution to the problem was, well, maybe I should confess this thing. And so in my break at the university, at the lunch break, I went to the little local Catholic church to go and talk to the priest and basically be absolved from my indiscretion. And he wasn't there. He was out shopping. And I sat there, and one of the nuns came to me and said, why don't you sit in the church until he arrives? Now, in Catholic thinking, if you die in a sin, like one that would be considered a mortal sin, which leads to eternal separation, well, then you go directly to hell, and you don't pass go, and you don't collect $200, and you sit there for all eternity. So it's a pretty serious thing. If you're not absolved from your sin, and a bus drives over you before you get that opportunity, that's it, your tickets, you're going to the bad place. And I sat there in that church contemplating this, and it didn't make sense to me. And I started thinking to myself, does God place you in a position where you are dependent upon a human being who can err, or in this case, not be available, and in between the period when he is available and not available, you die, then you go straight to hell? That doesn't seem like a logical system to me. And then I thought, as I sat there, now if there is a God, as these religious systems profess, it was hard for me because I'd become an atheist, then why would he need this go-between to forgive you something? Why would you be dependent upon him when he's out shopping? He should be here. He should be there 24/7 in case you have a problem, right? Now, the only one who would be there 24/7 is a living deity. And I looked at this little cabinet that they have with a little red candle in front of it, which says that the consecrated host is in it, which means the body of Christ is in there. Because in Catholic thinking, the host is literally, through the process of transubstantiation, converted into the literal body of Christ. Now, what use was that to me? Because he was a corpse.
Cannot talk.
So there was God. He was in that box in the church where I was sitting, and he was a corpse. So I couldn't talk to him, right, Martin?
Doesn't help.
Doesn't help to talk to him. The priest wasn't there. He was out shopping, which was very inconvenient. And I mulled this over in my mind and came to the conclusion that I was probably not being logical, and that this whole thing was being duped. And I sat up in that church because he just didn't arrive. And I only have a limited time because I've got to go back to teaching. And now whatever bus runs over me. And I said something which I believe to this day that God accepted as a prayer. I got up in a bit of an anger state, frustrated, let's say frustrated more than angry. And I said, God, if you exist, then reveal yourself to me. And I left. And I left with the determination not to return because the system didn't make sense to me. And God actually answered that prayer. Sometimes I wonder whether it was a good thing or not, but in retrospect, yes, it was a good thing, although it did change my life and turned it upside down.